As most of you know, NEO is probably the most talked about stock within the retail investing community. You can find the stock all over YouTube, and as a matter of fact, some of the biggest YouTubers in the stock finance world cover NEO extensively, as well as on Twitter and on Reddit as well. However, I think that there is another Chinese stock that retail investors should be taking a look at that looks even more attractive than NEO at current valuation. And that stock is Alibaba, which is a Charlie Munger favorite, as we all know. So, several Chinese stocks like Alibaba are very undervalued today. And you guys know this is mostly due to the regulatory fallout we saw in 2021 that was led by the delisting of Didi, which was very sad to see. And after doing some research, I'm starting to think that some of the optimism regarding Alibaba stock is definitely fair and makes a lot of sense. So, as many of you know, Charlie Munger's Daily Journal, they had their little, 4-hour long meeting with Yahoo Finance yesterday. Charlie Munger's Daily Journal had 600,000 shares of Alibaba stock as of the end of 2021, worth $71 million. That's a lot of money. Ray Dalio is also betting big on Alibaba, as he did buy more of the stock in the fourth quarter as well. And Alibaba is actually one of Ray Dalio's largest holdings. So right now, Alibaba stock has incredible fundamentals and everything you'd kind of want in a company. However, it's the regulatory issues that are scaring investors. So in regards to whether to buy this stock or not, it really comes down to whether you believe the regulatory environment in Chinese stocks will calm down and become favorable again. So obviously, from a fundamental perspective, this company is very cheap in terms of valuation. They expect at least 20% growth. They did announce a $15 billion share buyback program, and this company is absolutely loaded with cash. However, I'd argue that when evaluating this company, you're definitely going to want to add the regulatory risk to your fundamental analysis. And the reason why is because we saw in 2021 what happens when a company isn't liked by the CCP, and that can be very bad for American investors. Now, in my opinion, even when you factor in the risk of the regulatory crackdown from the CCP, I do believe actually that Alibaba stock is attractive at this valuation, especially relative to many US stocks. And I also like Alibaba more than NEO, and I believe that their dominance over their competitors absolutely destroys NEO, as they have several competitors such as companies like XPeng and Tesla. And because Alibaba is so grossly undervalued due to, as we said, geopolitical issues and internal regulatory risk, I would not mind starting a position in it at this current price. However, they do report earnings this month, so I would definitely wait until after earnings before making any moves with this stock. I definitely wouldn't put all your money or even most of your money in Chinese stocks because there's still a pretty big risk. However, I do believe that it makes sense to have some exposure here. I think the market sentiment toward China at present is filled with so much fear that I feel that you really can't help but get at least some type of exposure here. It kind of goes back to the old Warren Buffett quote, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And I think that's kind of the philosophy that Charlie Munger is following with Alibaba. And I could definitely see where he's coming from. I really do, because Alibaba is really cheap and there's a lot of fear. And at the end of the day, Alibaba is a phenomenal company. Now, I don't believe that the regulatory drama is over. However, I definitely believe that 2021 was the peak of it, and we should see it ease over time, at least hopefully, as who really knows what the future holds. In terms of what to expect next, Alibaba does report their quarterly earnings this month, and a miss in revenue or profits could absolutely send the stock lower. But in my opinion, I don't think it would send it lower by as much, as the expectations of the markets are already so low for these kinds of stocks. On the flip side, however, the low expectations and the fear regarding the stock, in my opinion, means that an earnings beat could deliver a bullish market response to the stock price. I could definitely see that. So why are many analysts still so bullish about the stock? Well, a nice earnings surprise to the upside would be a good reason for the stock to end its downtrend, and I could definitely see that happening. And also, as we've covered in this video, Alibaba's fall is not related to the company's financials. Instead, it's occurred basically because of pressure from Chinese regulators after that controversial speech by Jack Ma that was critical of the ruling party's economic policies. We saw that. Wasn't pretty. Um, the company has also taken steps to improve its relationship with the Chinese government. I have noticed that. And so I do suspect that the company can navigate itself out of the bad situation and all of the fear and the FUD that they had. And I think that this company can get back to its former glory. I could definitely see that. I think that this next earnings call could set the tone for Alibaba stock for the rest of 2022. And with that being said, it may be best to watch the earnings report before deciding whether you want to buy the stock or not. The stock's 2025 outlook looks even more positive than its 2022 outlook. It actually looks very, very good, especially given the fact that we expect China to continue to grow over the years. And I believe that this is why Charlie Munger bought more shares, because he believes that as well. And so overall, Alibaba stock is extremely undervalued in my opinion, and in my opinion presents a very strong upside for the future. Still, for me personally, I'd wait for the earnings call on February 24th before making an informed decision about that stock. And regardless of how people feel about NEO, I still think that if you're going to go the Chinese route, if you're going to buy a Chinese stock, I think Alibaba is the stock to buy, not necessarily NEO. And those are pretty much my opinions. I really like Alibaba stock, and I do plan to start a position in that stock. Now, if you look back at my old videos, I did make a video about Alibaba like months ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. And I was a fan of the stock back then. However, the stock kept going down, and I had to cut my losses because I'm not going down with that ship. I mean, that thing went down every single day. So I got out of that stock, but now that it seems to be settling around this $125 range, I think I am ready to get back in. I'm going to wait for earnings though, so after earnings on February 24th, depending on how they go, I will probably start a position in this stock, and I think the future is bright. I really do. So those are my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.